Hello. Wait, hold on. You know, I'm gonna. Hold on. Click. There you go. I saved. Hello again. Wait, is the mic on? Yeah, okay. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm just. We'll put that over there. Oh, jeez. I honestly don't even know what I'm doing. And hi, Gorg. Let's see. What are my go-tos? Is that softer side? I think this side's softer. Since I think I'll go with a link or something. Just because, yeah. Hey, Artistic. What's up? can't sleep. Ah, shoot. Stressful day or just very, very awake. Not working with a needed eraser. Oh, should I play like sleepy time music to help you relax? I can totally do that. Because I don't think Billy Idol is gonna help. Ah, that's a big head. Ooh. Hey, Doc. What's up? How you doing? Yes, hi. Oh, thank you. Hope you're having a good evening. Got a stomach. Oof. Yeah, I've been better. Ooh. Ah, damn, dude. I'm sorry. That's. Oh, that's never fun. That's always painful and so uncomfortable. I hope it passes soon. Hit 92 today as well. Oof. We hit double combo. Oh, and I'm assuming you don't have your AC on yet? You never have AC. Holy crap. Okay, no. Yeah, Shadow and his dad turned the AC on since May. Because it's been that fucking warm. I think tomorrow we're gonna hit 104. Usually we don't hit the hundreds until like mid-July. Since May we've been like in the 90s. It's this heat wave. I'm just like this is just a new normal. But so you guys are going through a heat wave? She got one of those heat domes in the southwest. Ooh, so that's what that is. I don't know. All I know it's warm. And it's been warm. And it's gonna keep getting warmer. It'll be in the 90s around noon, but because of humidity, it'll feel hotter. Ooh, yeah. Where you're from? Oh, yeah. Oof. Can't be good. Thankfully, I'm at a higher altitude. Otherwise, it'd be way worse. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, none of that helps. I mean, thankfully, we're dry, so we don't have to deal with that high humidity. Yeah, usually dry heat here, yeah. It does get humid in July or during our monsoon season, which is like July on August. It gets, yeah, it's usually when we would get rain. Do sometimes get rain, but I personally like it. I do not mind the humidity then. It really helps with my eyes and my nose because I just have really dry, just have a lot of dryness. Better for the skin, yeah. So I like it. I also like that we have, like here at my father-in-law's house, it's still a swamp cooler. So that helps also with the humidity. But like at my parents, my dad switched to refrigeration. Oh, it is dry there. I have like fallen asleep and taken naps at my parents' house, and it's like, oh, ow, my nose, dry. We use a swamp cooler. It's downstairs, and we use fans to blow it upstairs. See, that's smart. Yeah, because like here, all the bedrooms are upstairs, so it's really warm. So this is a big house. There's a cooler for the upstairs and a cooler for the downstairs. Downstairs, I mean, it's already connected and everything, but nobody's turned it on because it's cool. Even when it's like 90 degrees, it's still relatively cool. But up here, oh no, it's way too stuffy, way too warm. And then also because, you know, it's higher because it's the second floor, the second story. All the bedrooms get hit with that evening heat, like that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock with the sun starts hitting, so it's a lot warmer. And then the windows aren't like double insulated, so it's just it can be uncomfortable. I mean, truth be told, we could probably muster it out and not turn on the air conditioning as early as we do. But it's like, let's just turn it on the same boat. Oh, are you guys gonna turn it? Oh no, yeah. So are you gonna stay downstairs with the AC, with the swamp cooler? I just deal, try to cool things down at night. Oh, that's the worst, right? Like, I can deal with the heat during the day. Like, as long as I'm awake, I can deal with it. Like, even if it's hot and I feel, yeah, I can deal with it. But I can't sleep in heat. Like, I wish I could be like those people that's like, yeah, I fall asleep and I don't feel anything. It's like, nope, 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 can't do it. Because like 90 degrees awake is like whatever, but 90 degrees when you're falling asleep is torture. And then yeah, like 100 degrees, 105 degrees awake, I can deal, but 105 when you want to sleep, can't do it. It's miserable trying to, yeah, it is. I need water. If I'm distracted, I can deal with heat. When I'm sleeping, I never notice. Oh, you're lucky, Yaz. My husband can't sleep when it's hot either. Yeah. Oh, see, I wish I could do that. But yeah, like if I'm distracted, I can deal with it. But sleep is not enough of a distraction. We've had some 90-degree nights, but it's usually more 80s. Like right now, what is it? It's 31 Celsius. So yeah, it's not so bad actually. It's only 31, which is like what, 90? Hold on. 87, not 90. It was close. Yeah, it's 87, so that's actually pretty cool. You know, relatively speaking. Too hot. Like, no, that's too hot. It's 87, it's not so bad. I still remember, what was it? Was it last year? I don't remember, but like, cheese helps for sure. Oh, yeah, I mean, you guys are, yeah, we're just in the freaking desert. There is a project in the city called the 1 million trees for city name. But yeah, I mean, still, I mean, also like a lot of our trees are low. Well, I mean, they're desert trees, right? So, but yeah, like the older houses that have like cypresses, pine, mulberry, those tend to be cooler, of course. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like last year that we went to a film festival with Pyro and Kano. And it was during like that like heat wave, that consistent like almost all of summer. It was like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the night that we went to go see, because it was Ghostbusters and it was a free showing outside the theater. And so we were sitting down and, you know, walking around, getting to our seats. And I'm like, wow, it's actually kind of cool tonight. I wonder what the temperature is. And it's like 97 degrees. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, we had just gotten so used to like 100 plus degree weather. And it's like, oh, 97. That feels cool in comparison. Was it a theater that serves you meals? No. No, this is, like for the film festival here, it's based off an older theater. And it's like theater, like with a stage and everything. But back in the day, it also had movie showings. And so it was shut down. They were gonna turn it into a parking lot, like everything back in the 90s. It did get saved, so it's a historic theater now, and they do a film festival. But yeah, food should not be allowed inside the theater, and I know this because I used to work there. But yeah, it's not dinner theater. Dinner theater. However, because they have the main theater, which is the historic theater, and then there's like an add-on like mini theater, and they have like shorts there, and then they also have like outside theater showings, but it's, you know, like a with a screen or a blow up screen. Yeah, no, dinner theater. Well, yeah, not the main location, but like where we went to go see Ghostbusters, it was outside downtown. So yeah, there's vendors and you could order food. We got snow cones. I dropped my snow cone. I didn't even get to taste it. I just dropped it. It's like, well, there goes $5. Fun times. Anyway. But we do have a movie theater. I believe it's a chain here in Texas. It's called Alamo Draft House, and that is, I mean, it's just a movie theater, but they do serve you meals if you order. For me, it was the opposite. I used to live in far northern Canada. They don't even close the schools when it's negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. When it starts to warm up again in the spring, it's like winter if it's 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, wow. So, yeah, you're used to extreme cold. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, cannot deal. See, for me, 70 degrees Fahrenheit is very cool. Like, summer at 14 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, yeah, I understood. I can't believe 14 degrees Fahrenheit is warm for summer. But I mean, yeah, far northern Canada. Okay, yeah, makes sense, right? Jeez. Yeah, like for me, 70 degrees, it's already like, nope, need to put on a light jacket. Need my hoodie. Right now, I was wearing my hoodie. But like, oh my goodness. Jeez, 14 degree summer. People stop wearing winter jackets and everything. I can't. No, see, 14 degrees, I'd be freezing. No. No. We don't even get to 14 degrees. If we do, that's like an ice storm. That's like, it's, no. I think the lowest we've hit during my lifetime, I think the lowest I've seen was like 18 degrees or like 20 degrees. 20. No, yeah, I think like 18 was the lowest I've personally seen. I can't imagine 14. I remember it was around 14 degrees Fahrenheit in fall. And I was wearing a jacket, and someone low key jokingly made fun of me. And then everybody was making fun of Texas, right? You know, like, well, can't handle the snow. Exactly. Like, it's the same thing, but it's very annoying because, you know, every area deals with climate, and you know they're adapted to there. So anything outside of that norm, they're just not going to handle it, for better or for worse. Like, I live in an area where it's a hot desert climate. We have no natural disasters here. Usually, it's just not the norm, thankfully. But when something does out of our norm occur, oh, everything shuts down. Like back in 2011, we had like a really, really wet rainy season, and everything just flooded because we have the river flowing through, but because of the city and the border, it's usually channeled out, so the actual river within the city limits is dry, the riverbed. And then that year, the river broke bank, and so many houses were lost. Neighborhoods were lost here in my city. Like by the highway, there's some like land there that's just gone. It's just bulldozed because the neighborhoods got flooded so badly it had to be all destroyed. It was, yeah, like, actually that was the year of Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. And I remember because, you know, there was this big talk about you know, what was it, FIFSA, government aid. And then my city also had to apply for government aid because it was just so bad. It's crazy, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Oh, I wanted to show this. So yesterday, I'm trying to relearn how to sketch with pencil and paper because I've been doing a lot of digital just because it's easier and cheaper. But I want to open sketch commissions. I'm thinking $25 per sketch commission. It should be this. I'm still gonna offer a digital option, but I know some people prefer traditional. They like to own their art. So I'm trying to get used to working with pencil again, and it's been hard, not gonna lie. So yesterday I actually streamed this and I worked on this. And this is what I did. Ta-da! And it's okay. I don't know, people have been saying like I'm being too rough on myself, but I was just very frustrated with how smudgy it got. Like, yes, it's supposed to be sketchy, but I feel it got too smudgy. I don't know, but anyway, this is available if anybody ever wants it. But yeah, so right now I'm just trying to get back into the groove of sketching with pencil, and also see if I can draw fast enough, because I do have, my speed has improved, especially after this like whole year of almost drawing nonstop for the chaotic draw along. But again, most of that has been digital. There have been some traditional pieces, but more often than not, I just sketch digitally. And right, left, right. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. It'll look better this way. He's ambidextrous. But yeah, I mean, I have noticed an improvement in speed when it comes to drawing, but I don't know if that speed is just when I work in digital, or if it also applies to me sketching traditionally. So anyway, drawn this guy in forever and I don't even know what I'm doing. Wait, no. What did I do? I don't understand what I did. Wait, what's that line? Oh, dear. What's next? Okay. Okay. Link, yeah, Amy Joe. I couldn't figure out what to draw. I'm like, well, my go-tos are usually Ninja Turtles and Zelda, and I've already drawn a lot of Ninja Turtles, so it's like, let's try Link. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into sketching with pencil and paper. So I did this yesterday, and yeah, so getting back into the groove of it is very hard. Yeah, just a few, just a smidge. I mean, like, I honestly could just keep drawing more, but I feel like I'm getting, like, people are getting annoyed with me. I was like, there she goes again. There goes that person. Oh, so, like, my very first con that I ever did was also the first of a local Comic Con. And I was wearing just, like a Ninja Turtle t shirt. And a lot of the stuff that I had was Ninja Turtles and Batman and Wonder Woman and Zelda and prints like that. But yeah, so it got to the point where like people were like, "Oh, hey, it's you! You're the Ninja Turtle girl." Like, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm them. I've seen you guys sketch and red to do what you do, cause yeah. Well, actually, I started doing this because years ago, one of the artists that I really liked was doing it, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. But then they said because they were in studying animation at the time, and I'm like, oh, that's cool because I want to do that too. And like usually I don't like sometimes like you'll hear things but you don't pick it up, and then some things you do. And this was one of those things where that I did pick up from them, from a stranger on the internet. And yeah, I like it. I love working with red pencil. I do enjoy it. I like it. Okay, I think that's okay. As far as red goes, and oh, everything's falling. Let's see if what I'm mostly struggling with is drawing with a mechanical pencil, which is so weird because that was my go-to tool for a really, really, really long time. Tiny pencils. Yeah. Hey, Daniel. Yeah, my tiny pencils. Although the tiniest ones are. Where are you at? Here are the tiny ones. It's the tiny ones. So tiny. Yes, I refuse to just throw them away. So like, I'm just gonna super glue you one end to the other, and use the most I can. Same thing with this one. It's my 2B, as you can tell, despite all the teeth marks. But yeah, it's my 2B, and I just have it attached to this eraser holder, and so it's easier to, you know, it's like a pencil extender, I believe, is what they sell them as. I'm just working with what I got. Let's see. I usually like to have my face right up to the front, so apologies. Moving earthquake. Sorry. Is that okay? It's decent. Alrighty. Actually, let's be smart. Let's think. I should start this way. Because I have a tendency of always starting with the right eye, or their left, my right. But then, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to smudge it. So let's think. Let's work left to right, so I don't smudge. How long have I been drawing? Less than an hour. Okay. So I think that's... Smudge gloves, I do not. I own gloves, but not smudge gloves. Actually, I had never even heard of them. I didn't know that existed, to be honest. And now I'm gonna look that up. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm actually really interested in that. Oh, let's see. Smudge gloves. Smudge guard. Oh, it's the ones for just for drawing on the tablet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I have those. Yeah, no, they don't work for me. If it's that, then yeah, I have them, but they don't work for me. I don't know, I'm just a very messy artist. Try as I might to be clean and professional, I can't. I'm a mess. I'm a chaotic mess. Like back when I was in school, especially like for like printmaking, I would change clothes and I would wear an apron on top of my printmaking clothes, and I would still, I mean, I would try so hard to keep myself clean, and but I would always end up with just very dirty. I would wear gloves also, so I wouldn't get ink and solvents on my hands. And still, I would leave the studio with dirty nails, with ink under my nails, and just I don't know how I would try as I might, I would still end up dirty and covered in ink and stuff. And then I would look at my classmates, some, and especially the ones who were like in graphic design, pristine. They would be wearing their very nice, pretty blouses, white pants, their ballet shoes, and just like very pretty and cute and so clean and immaculate. And it's like, we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same process. Why am I a mess? Why are you so clean? How does that work? I have no idea. My pencil art tends to smudge as well, and I'm also very heavy-handed when I draw. Yeah, you must suffer for creativity for real. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm very like my strokes aren't heavy-handed, but my hand, I, I, yeah, that's my problem. So like something like this helps a lot, but even this, which is why I like using it. I don't like using just like a plain sheet of paper because the tooth of the paper will still smudge. I like this, you know, because it's the plastic, and so it glides more and it smudges less. But you know, still. So I have my camera right here. Hello. And it's right up to my face. And it's my old phone. That's what I use for recording for the webcam. And I keep thinking, because the phone is so close to my face and my mouth, I'm like, oh no, they can hear everything. They can hear me breathing. But no, the microphone is over there. I don't like this hair, but oh well. You know what I should have done beforehand? I should have rubbed it with the kneaded eraser to clean some parts up. But oh well. Now, like the face, I should do that before I go in with the graphite. Just clean up a little bit. Because, I mean, it's still supposed to be a sketch, right? It's supposed to look sketchy. I was showing the Raphael one to... I posted it to one of my social media. I was complaining about it, like, oh, it's so messy. And a friend was like, it's a sketch. It's supposed to look sketchy and like that. What are you talking about? I'm like, no. Okay, yes, you're right, correct, but still. Such is the life of an artist. Yes, it is. How you doing, Samurai Fudge? Welcome. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm still gonna have that and this. And some of these lines are gonna stay. But at least there won't be as prominent. I'm gonna start writing. Nice. It'll be a work along. You write. I'll keep drawing. Attempting to. Anyway. I also need to decide like just how much detail I really want to put into a sketch. I don't know. These things are hard. That's why I don't do them. That's why I don't do anything. Things are hard and I'm just like, yeah, it's not worth it. I'll just keep starving. Oh, I really wish, you know what I really miss about digital? Flip canvas. It'd be so much easier. Actually, you know, I don't think I like the eye. Excuse me. Make it wider. Same line, I guess.
do like Weezer, but actually, let me.
Oof. Huh. Oh, thank you, Yas. Thank you, Yasmin. What's up? A pie dove. Do I have that? And it escaped. Never mind. You can't even see. Okay, so like an hour 15 Granted, this is a character I haven't drawn in a long time, but I'm still familiar with. So it was a little easier. You know what? It kind of looks like Link to the Past Link. So let's give him pink hair. Or red, in this case. It's my doodle, I do what I want. Oops. Okay. Oops. It's a lot of oopses. It's always Teen Spirit. shoot. Holy cow. Oh man. Surprise. No, thank you. Oh man. Ah. Hi everyone. Painting Badly. Hi, welcome. Oh, thank you so much for the raid, dude. Thank you. How's everyone? Wait, hold on. Let me do the proper thingamajiggers. I know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not a professional, but I know what I'm doing. I think. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank you so much. How did you finish your painting? I saw it. Looked beautiful. But yeah, for those who don't know, well, that's a gaming clip, but I'm Painting Badly. Is a ploy at misdirection because he's actually painting very goodly, and everybody should go follow him. Very, very, very beautiful oil paintings, and just sorry. And you can learn a lot. You learn a lot from his streams. So yeah, go check him out. You finished, nice. Hey, well, I mean, you're welcome to drop in your links and stuff. Links to your portfolio, to your Instagram, to whatever. That's kind, but you don't have to lie. I'm not lying. I lurk and I look, and it's very pretty and it's very good work. I'm not lying. How dare you, sir? But yes, there you go. Go follow. In fact, let me show you. Because otherwise people won't believe me. But like this one. And like the fire. It's just metal. The metal. Wait, I never saw this one. What's this? Oh man, I love process videos. But I never saw this one. What Rudy? With the tinfoil? Tinfoil brains? Oh man. But yes, sorry, I get distracted. How is that even possible? Right? It's magic. How dare you lie to me? I dare, but I also am not lying. I love process videos. I do. There's a shirt with a tinfoil. Wait, really? So what you're saying is that you also have a shop. In which case, please feel free to drop in those links. But thank you so much for the raid, and I know you stream for a long time, so please go take care of yourself. Go hydrate, eat, sleep, do what you have to do. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm. They're in the Insta. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Go take care of yourself. Have a good evening. I'm just drawing, just doodling. Oh, and also thank you for the follows. I didn't notice that too. Must love pickles and Painting Badly. Thank you. I'm just sketching. Trying to get back into the practice of sketching with pencil, because I've been working mostly digitally lately, so I'm thinking of maybe offering sketch commissions because they're easier to work with, and I think they're more economical, and like 20-25 bucks I think is something that some people can afford. But yesterday I was sketching this, and today I'm sketching a link. Just a link. No specific link, just a link. Did you finish the turtles? Which ones? I drew a lot of turtles, I'm sorry, so... The ninja ones, duh. Oh man. um yeah, I guess sorry, it's just that all of May I was drawing a lot of Ninja Turtles, but yeah, I did. I think so. Or I mean, let me switch on over to my to my Instagram. But yeah, I did the turtles. They're all on my Instagram. This is the one that I drew for uh draw this in your style from Rosmere. You know, from this gorgeous thing that Rosmere created to this. But yeah, I also, like I said, I drew a lot of Ninja Turtles and turtle related characters. Got some more over here and there and everywhere. Yeah, just a few. Just a few. Last time in the ravine you were doing them leaning against the wall. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So that one was, yeah. It was actually this post that got deleted by Instagram because I had them chronologically. So it's 1723 and then it was 24 to 27 and then 28 to 31. But Instagram somehow for some reason deleted this one, but yeah, it's this one. It's that one, and then there's another panel, and then it's that. It's a dumb joke. It's a very dumb joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the prompt is draw your turtle Sona, and I don't have one, so that's my really dumb joke. Yeah. Damn right, Daniel. Turned out great. Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, I'm just adding some more, a little bit of shading, because I it's very difficult for me to leave things alone, and I feel like everything has to have just a little bit of shading. Like I really love line art, but I don't know how to just leave things at at the line art stage anymore. It's like, what if, hear me out, we had some shading. And so I shade. And I overwork things, and I don't know how to control myself. I didn't realize you shared the draw this in your style in Insta. Yeah, I did. It's like, might as well. I've drawn crazier things. It's really not that bad. I'm just a big baby. Yeah. actually, I'm pretty much done with this. I'm just, like I said, just... I mean, I don't know if this is worth $25, but if anyone's interested. You can have something similar to this, I guess. Yeah, what is self-promo? Yep, I think that's it. It's done. It's done, I guess. Hold on, let me pull out a little bit. Just clean that up a bit. I shouldn't be using this eraser because I don't have refills. At least I don't think I bought refills, and I bought it mostly for doll repainting. But yeah, I guess I'm done. Go away. Looks great. Oh, thank you, dog. Appreciate it. Let's sign it. Hydration and stretch. You can't do the combo because there's no saving. Yeah. Thank you. Oh man. And the stretching. So I'm enjoying this playlist too. Oh, thank you. It's just it's YouTube. Thank you. Hello. Hello everyone. Hello Crusty Customs. Hello, welcome. Hi. Oh, let me wave back. How very rude of me, but hello Crusty Customs and Raiders, welcome. What were you up to, Krusty? Of course, let me do the whole whatchamacallit, the sharing and the shouting out. Good lord. Let me give you a shout out. It's like, well, I want to know. A potty mouth. Oh, do not worry. I crushed too. Yeah, this is not family friendly. Yeah, no worries. But how are you? I'm fine, thank you. I was just drawing, but how about you? How are you? Thank you for the raid. What were you up to? And if there's anything you'd like to share, if you want to drop in links, you're more than welcome to. Share your Instagram, your portfolios, or music, or gaming, whatever you do. You're more than welcome to share. And also, I know that you're probably tired, so if you need to go, get some food, water, go rest, please feel free. You don't have to stay. I appreciate it. I burned myself wielding, so. Oh, welding. Oh, ow. Ow. Yeah. Oh, Yeah, okay, yeah, you should probably go take care of that. Yeah, go. Go. Go take care of yourself, please. Yeah. Ow, that sounds very painful. Yeah, I've welded a little bit in my time. Yeah, not the first or last time I will do that. Yeah. It is what it is, but still, you know what? Let's go take care of that. I do appreciate the raid, but yeah, seriously, yeah, go take care of that. Like, for real. I was just drawing and sketching. I do work traditionally, but lately I've been working a lot of digital. So I'm trying to get back to my roots, which is sketching. So I want to start offering commissions, like just really cheap sketch commissions. And yesterday I drew this on stream, and right now I drew this, which is a link. No specific link from any iteration, just a link general. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I honestly, I don't even know what to do now. I guess I could draw something else. Nice. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I did say I want to practice, right? So I should probably do something else. I wonder, does this sketchbook match? Oh, it actually does. Would you look at that? Huh, look at that. Sorry, the microphone fell. Yeah, I'm just chilling with some mustard on my burn. Oh, I've seen that. That you should apply mustard. I thought it was a joke. I wasn't sure if it was, like people trolling others to put mustard on a burn. But okay, good to know. It's legit. Look at that. Sheesh. I thought it was a big joke. And the more you know. The more you know. Oh, let me just check this really quick. Michelangelo as a child playing some Nintendo. Wait, which Michelangelo are we talking about? Like the Michelangelo? Like Michelangelo the Bonardi? Or Ninja Turtle Mikey? You know the one. It's like, bitch, please, what you talking about? You don't be joking around. You know. All right. Let's see. Okay. 10-minute doodle. Wow, 10 minutes. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna. Oh, look, it's a sloth from Christmas. And that's the warm band. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then when I come back, we'll do the redemption. And then after that, I don't know, but we'll play it by ear. But yeah, I'm gonna go take a quick break. I'll see y'all in a bit. I encourage you to also go take a break. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Timer. And this thingamajigger for 10 minutes. Oof, can I do it? Ah. Welcome back on. Thank you, Doc. Oh, thank you, dump truck. Thank you. Yeah, it's some work I did many years ago. I guess not that many. Oh yeah, like 10 years ago. A friend was trying to help me like find illustrative work, and it was for a club, a nightclub downtown, and they wanted like some window displays. And so yeah, I drew the background, and then I drew like the sakura flowers, the branch, and that was printed separately, you know, to like hang. It was supposed to be really cool, but apparently it never got hung because the workers stepped on the entire thing. And I never got to see it displayed. But I like the image, and so I've been using it. But thank you. Okay, let's see. 10-minute sketch. Oh, look, this was a chaotic draw along. My friend, Phoenix Fire Element, also streams. They got, what is this? A chaotic, whatchamacallit, the prompt deck somebody gifted to them, and the cards were firefighter and chicken. And this is my entry. It's Mr. May. Yeah. Anyway, that was LMAX yesterday. And okay, so Michelangelo. Where are my pencils? Done. Was the mic even on? Yeah. We need music. Because it's scary without music. Let me just check this out. No, this isn't me procrastinating because I'm scared, because I always get nervous when I have to do a redeem. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. This is fine. I'm fine. Is everything ready? Eraser. Pencils. God dang. Sorry. Oh, cool. It got back without me having to disconnect it. Nice. Should I draw it this way? Okay, yeah. Let's try it this way. Orderly. Go away. Can I do it? Can I do it? Let's go. I don't remember how to draw Nintendo. How do feet work? Oops, looks weird. You'll have to forgive my artistic liberties we're taking in drawing this Nintendo. Okay. Is your VTuber moving to the music? No. Wait, does it look like it is? If it does, it's just a happy coincidence, but no. No. It'd be cool if I could have it like head bopping, but no. But anyway, here you go, Grok. Mikey playing Nintendo. Nice drawing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. The mouth was moving, but you weren't speaking. Oh, then yeah, it's probably picking up the music from the speakers, which means that'll probably be muted in the VOD. Oh well, too bad. But yep, here we go. What's today's date? 6/4. 6/4/24. 10 minutes. Doc. Excuse me. Okay, well, I think that's cute. Dog, are you still around? Oh, you probably had to step out. Okay, but yeah, here we go. 1 redeem done. Hooray! That actually went pretty fast. Because usually I'm struggling. It's like I see the clock and I'm like, oh no, there's only 2 minutes left. And it's like, ah! And I get frantic. But this was like, I'm done. I actually don't know what else to do. But yep, here we go. I like it. It's cute. I guess drawing turtles nonstop for like a month would help you speed things up, right? Yep. Okay, so now what? What to do? Let's see, let me turn off the timer. Don't need that anymore. Close the timer. And yeah, I'm Hey, nobody. Yes, this message is indeed highlighted. I my attention has been brought to it. How you doing, nobody? Hydration, thank you. Do need a little bit of a sippy sip after that. Thank you. Also a stretch, man. My arm, my shoulder. I was trying to stretch it earlier, but jeez, man, my shoulder. Oh wait, there's like a kink there, and I can't get it. But I think I got something. Something popped. Okay, well, thank you. You're well. Good. That is good to hear. I hope your work day went well. Man, I have split ends, don't I? Oof, yeah. You know what? Let me trim that off. Man, I have a lot of split ends. Okay, anyway, that's not for the stream. So 2 sketches done. Not quite sure what else to do. I mean, of course I can sketch some more. I don't know what. Oh, just woke up from a nap. Nice. I hope it was a restful nap. Let's see. My friend, because I asked my friend earlier, like, dude, I don't know what to draw. And she was like Ace Duck from the fucking Turtles, or Cowley, but I don't know if I want to do that. The heck is my messenger? There you are. Cudley or Ace Duck? I guess I can do Ace Duck. He's fun to draw. I've drawn him before, but I drew him very, whatchamacallit, like jokingly. If this would load, I could show you. Except it's not loading. Hello. Don't freeze on me. Where would it be? Would it be under Turtles? Wait, hold on. Is this going by date? So I drew this, yeah, like years ago. I guess I can revisit that in a more serious tone. I don't know. Yeah, I guess, yeah, sure, why not? Let's draw Ace Duck in his, like, pilot gear. Let's do it, yeah, sure. Let's do it, yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't show you because, fuck me. Yeah, that character. Let's see. I don't remember exactly what Ace Duck, what his jacket looks like. It's a pilot jacket, right? Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Because I mean that's the character, and I was just drawing a dumb thing for the lols. So yeah, sure, why not? It's practice, right? We're doing practice. Yeah. Da-da-da-da. Should go with the Archie look. Kind of do my own thing. Or the toy. Let's go with the toy, I guess. Oh, good lord. Yeah, you know, let me just sketch this really quick. Just to get some, like I said, just pencil practice in, and then I think we'll call it after that. So maybe like 10-15 minutes? I don't know. It also helps that I was drawing ducks earlier. Because for the chaotic draw along, I don't know why I double clicked. For the chaotic draw along, the prompt was, what was it, y'all? It was Ducks and Dungeons. So I drew my D&D characters as ducks because I didn't know what else to do. So, okay. Let's do this. tend to always draw characters facing this way, to my left, in a 3/4 view, standing, you know, much like Link, because that's just like, I think, my comfort pose. Pre-roll ads are on. Yes, I know. Run another ad break? I don't think so. Sorry. I'm not gonna run ads every 30 minutes. Let's see, what's the hat? Da, 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 da. Hey, why are hats hard to draw? Oops. Yeah, it would be this way, this way. And the pilot jacket. Thumbs up. Yeah, we'll just leave them like that. It's fine. I don't want to do a thumbs up. I don't want to draw hands. I'm gonna cheat. I don't want to draw hands. Hands are hard. I know I'm practicing, but why make it more difficult? Am I right? Of course I'm right. Here's a patch, I think. Do I have a favorite ice cream? I do not. not a favorite. I do have multiples that I like, but like a pure favorite one, nah. I mean, I anything that's chocolate. I love coffee, ice cream, but I also like strawberry. I like pistachio. I like um I said strawberry, right? I like anything with cookies in it also, and like the marbled ones with the, be it caramel or fudge, or also I don't know. I just like ice cream. But a favorite one, not exactly. Why? How about you? Do you have a favorite one? Nobody? Hey, Golden Fox. Hey, what's up? Nice to see you again. Just winding down earlier today. So, yeah, you were here yesterday, right? For the RAF? Well, today I practiced with a link. So, yeah, and then oh, and then a little earlier ago, some minutes ago, a friend, because I have a Twitch redeem for like so many points you can do a 5 minute doodle or a 10 minute doodle, and a friend redeemed a 10 minute doodle of Michelangelo Ninja Turtle as a child playing some Nintendo. So I drew that. And right now I'm just doing an ace duck, which is a character in the Turtleverse, in the Archie Turtleverse. And just a really quick doodle. Just, again, just practice. And then I think I'm going to raid out. Probably cookies and cream. Oh, you're like my brother. My brother loves cookies and cream too. I mean, and you can't go wrong with it, because it's cookies and cream. And it's an ice cream. Like, what else? It's delicious. I love cookies and cream. Like, good cookies and cream. You can never go wrong with that. Should I just stick with red? Should I? Let's do some of this. Ow, 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 ow. But I hope you're well, Fox. Hope you had a good day. Morning, evening, whatever time zone you're in. I do okay. Good to hear. And nice. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't sketch this part well enough that I don't even know what I drew here. What line is what? Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, now I know what I did. Let's see. Man, I forgot how quickly you use up lead or graphite with a soft pencil. Oh jeez, let me sharpen this. Okay, let's pull out the little teeny tiny little pencil and sharpen it. teeny tiny pencil. Sharpened. One of the bad things about... Oh, I should just put the light this way, duh. Is that... Since the pencil is so soft, the light kept reflecting off of it. Oh shit, sorry. Ah. Yeah, that beak looks weird. It's fine. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, obviously the more cartoony characters are easier to draw. Just clean it up a bit. Of course, soft pencil is very easy to smudge, which was my problem yesterday with that RAF one. Clean up the feathers just a tiny bit. Okay, that's it. Oh. Oh, it's today, 6/4. I keep asking that every time. You'd think I'd remember. Stop. Okay. Oh, I think that's it for today. Look at me doing short streams. Who am I? I don't even know. Okay, let's see. Who is on? Am I gonna raid? I think I should. There are people. Oh, hey, Cody's on. Yeah, that's right, Cody. He's drawing. He's doing the draw along. The monsters. I'm making monsters. That should be fun if anybody wants to, you know, draw along. If anybody's in the mood for making some monsters. So, yeah, we'll head on over to Cody. And I'll see y'all later. But if anyone's interested, you can find me, gosh darn it, in that link right there. And let's get this raid started. Oh, thank you, Doc. Oh, Doc, did you see it? Oh, I'll scan it anyway and send it to you on Discord, but thanks for hanging out. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. Thank you for the follows. Thank you to Badly and Customs who burned himself, unfortunately, but you know, thank you for the raids. Thank you for the follows, and I'll see everybody later. Bye bye.